Hey friends, it's Sarah from She's Crafty and She Knows It, and today we're going to be making some really cute photo resin magnets. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have my 1.5 inch punch here, and we're just going to go ahead and cut some photos out. And I already have my photos printed out. I use the iPhoto app on my MacBook to just size these down and kind of adjust the margins and printed them out to the right size. And so when I punch them out, I like to actually turn the punch over upside down so that I can see exactly where it's going to cut. So I just slide the picture in, and this way I can see in there where it's going to hit it when I cut. Now you want to make sure that you have the photo centered so that it's not cutting outside of the edges of the photo paper, because you want it to be a full circle. Now you can lift this little bottom tray up if you want to, if it helps you see better. But I'm going to go ahead and scoot it over as far as I can without cutting off the edge of my husband's head. Okay, so there we go. I have a cute little photo of me and my husband. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep on going through all these photos and punching them all out using my 1.5 inch punch. And like always, I will link all of the supplies I'm using in the description below this video. Okay, and then when you get to here, it's just easier to go ahead and cut it off right above the photo. That way you can go ahead and punch it out easily without having to try to punch it from the side and get exactly where you need it to be. Okay, so now that I'm done cutting out all of the photos, I'm going to go ahead and place the photos into the silicone mold. Now I have the specific resin that I'm using linked below. It's just a part A and part B mixture, and so you go ahead and just mix equal parts of part A and B together. It's not super complicated or anything. It comes with a really easy to follow instruction manual and everything. Now how much resin you need will depend on how many magnets you're making and how thick you're pouring them. So it takes a little bit of trial and error to get used to knowing how much resin different crafts will use, but you can always start with a small batch and then mix up another small batch if needed. Like always, when working with resin, you need to use the proper precautions. It's important to work in a well-ventilated area, wear a respirator, safety glasses, and gloves. I always cover my work surface with a garbage bag to protect my tabletop. So now we're just going to mix the resin together slowly for 5 minutes. It will feel like you're mixing for a really long time, but I promise it's worth it, and it's important to mix it thoroughly. The resin I link does come with specific instructions, like I said, so just follow the instructions that it comes with, and it'll tell you exactly how to mix it, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so now that the resin is mixed together, we're just going to go ahead and pour a thin amount of resin over the photos. Okay, now that the resin is poured, we're going to be using a heat gun to pop any bubbles that we see in the resin. You can use a lighter if you don't have a heat gun, but with a lighter, you have to be really careful because it's very easy to kind of leave burn marks on the resin. It'll actually leave kind of a black burn area on the resin, and it's also really easy to melt the edges of the silicone mold. Just trust me on that one. I've been there, done it. So I found that the heat gun is actually much easier and safer to use than the lighter. So I have this heat gun that I'm using, the specific one I'm using, linked in the description below this video as well, in case you don't have a heat gun and you're interested in getting one. Now, if there are bubbles that are kind of under the surface of the resin and you're having a hard time popping them, you can just go ahead and use a toothpick to kind of bring those bubbles up to the surface at the top of the resin, and then you can easily pop them using the heat gun. Now, as the resin starts to harden, you might notice that the photos are trying to kind of rise up to the top of the resin. If you see this happening, just go ahead and use a toothpick to gently and slowly push the photo down under the resin a little bit. If this causes any bubbles when you're kind of pushing the photo down, bubbles might kind of pop up from underneath the photo. Just go ahead and use the heat gun again to pop them. If you need to bring the bubbles up to the top of the surface with the toothpick, do that as well, and then pop the bubbles. Now with resin projects, I always advise people to kind of stay in the vicinity of the project for about 15 to 20 minutes as it's starting to harden up, just to make sure that everything's looking the way that you want it to and that no new bubbles are popping up. After about 20 minutes, things typically start hardening up enough that things stop shifting around and bubbles stop appearing out of nowhere. So just kind of stick around, keep an eye on it, use the heat gun as needed if you see new bubbles arising. Okay, so it's been 48 hours since I poured the resin. We can go ahead and pop these out of the mold. Now, if there are any rough spots in the resin around the edges or anywhere, you can use some super fine grit sandpaper to kind of smooth them down. Okay, so all we need to do now is go ahead and put some little magnets on the back of each resin photo. I have the super easy to use magnets that just have like a peel off 3M sticky side. You just peel off the backing and stick it to the back of the resin, and they're good to go. These are really strong magnets. They work great for fridge magnets, or if you have a kiddo that wants to put them in a locker or whatever, these magnets are really strong. Okay, friends, so that's it. That's how I made these super cute photo resin magnets. Like always, I have all the supplies linked in the description below this video. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye!
She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows. She's crafty and she knows it.